He goes, all they said was chicken. Like,
Yeah,
Dad, Pollo,
Pollo is chicken.
Pollo's chicken.
Yeah. Annie, I suppose I can throw this away.
I've got a shred bin, I can, since it's got personal information, I just gotta leave that.
Are we broadcasting?
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Good.
All there.
Yeah, well,
I made the track in from Beaver Dam.
yes, I did.
Well
How
done.
was the drive?
Not too bad.
Yes.
Not too bad.
Almost 3 minutes away.
Still real warm out there.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I like.
My kind of weather.
She's in the waiting room.
Oh,
Search Ben, not much. Good. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Mayor. How are you?
Good, you?
Doing well, thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
Maybe I could.
It's our agenda on here.
I can get you copies.
I've got the special meeting one, but not the other one.
Not the personnel one?
No, I don't.
Okay, yeah, I can get that for you, absolutely.
No,
You have them? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have enough of that money yet.
Both of them?
Very
No, I purchased this one. No.
there's definitely.
I know, I know.
I gave you the one you just said. All right. Yeah.
I know. It's been tripping on me.
Ashley, are Jim, Mary, and Alex gonna join tonight?
Yeah, both of them will be.
Oh, okay. And Alex too? Alex
I
Doctor?
believe so, yeah. Mhm.
Anybody want a water? I can get it. Water. I need the exercise. I'm trying to be nice. Anyone want water?
I got some, thank you.
I need.
Jim Sullivan's in the waiting room.
It's warm.
The email?
They were. They were included with both agendas for tonight. They were in the same email. But I have hard copies there for you as well.
And last week.
Or I will, I'm sorry, I have them over here. I have them printed out for later.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome.
And which one was you said, was you went through?
Anybody here from Jack Abbott?
Ms. Golden, you're- I have not heard from First Abbott.
Watch the waiting room.
Yeah.
Mary, okay.
Mhm.
I'll just go ahead and call it, so. Call to order, welcome everybody to the Mayville Common Council special meeting Tuesday, May 30th, 6 p.m. Please take the roll.
Alderperson Kim Olson,
Here.
Alderperson Ken Newman,
Present.
Alderperson Roger Smith,
Here.
Alderperson Michael Schmidt,
Here.
Alderperson Joseph Tillman,
Here.
And Alderperson Abbott does not appear to be here.
We have a quorum. Item 2, Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Item 3, citizen comments. Are there any citizen comments tonight? No citizen comments. Item 4, mayor comments. So thank you all for convening in this special meeting. Came on with some urgency, of course, with the resignation of our comptroller treasurer, Angie Grundy. And really, that turning point gave me the opportunity to really look at the task at hand. And I put together an 8-step or an 8-component plan that's focused on helping us get us where we want to be financially. So what I was going to do is I was just going to review the 8 points of the plan. And then we're going to go right into the meat of the agenda, which is we're going to be getting a presentation from Sikich, our enhanced auditor, presenting some of their findings on what they've observed and looking at Mayville's financial data, and then recommendations, which we'll go into further. So in terms of the 8-step plan, one high priority item, of course, is focusing on the accounting system upgrade. So we're going to make it first and foremost. Our objective is to get the Cassell upgrade complete, all the right modules and all of the right licenses. And the vision of that is so that we're able to perform optimally. We're able to be more streamlined in how we do some of our processes, including payroll. And we're going to make it, we're going to give department heads, we're going to give council members, we're going to give the mayor's office access to reports that will make it real easy for, all of us to perform our respective roles and get information on a self-serve basis out of the accounting system, which will be really nice. So I talked about efficiency a little bit. The second item on the list is adapt our processes to efficiently process payroll in-house. I was talking with a citizen last week about the fact it takes us currently 3 days to process payroll. And the citizen I spoke to ran an HR department for many, many years. He said three days is astronomical. So I do believe that with the Cassell upgrade, we're going to be able to streamline that process, and also in working with the department heads, making it clear what we need, what City Hall needs in order to process payroll effectively and efficiently. Just the communication there is certainly going to help. Tied into that as well is step 3 is hire a co-deputy clerk. That's going to give us the ability to better balance workload. It's going to give us more payroll expertise and HR expertise in-house, which will be a big benefit to the city. Item 4 is related to Sikich. Now, Sikich is a CPA firm. Sikich has been helping us for a couple of months in evaluating information. It turns out we've learned in the process there's a lot that they can do in working with municipalities. So I'll give you some examples, and you have a report in front of you. This was the original proposal that was delivered in terms of what Sikich provides and what their observations were and what their recommendations were. This is not the final list of items, and we'll talk more about that. But really, where Sikich is going to be able to help us, especially in light of the fact that Angie will no longer be with us, they're going to be able to help us check our work, do our monthly reconciliation, check our work, help us put controls and process in place that have been missing. One thing that consistently has been called out on our annual audits has been the tag center finances. And just having better controls and better reporting and monitoring of the tag finances will be a big benefit to the city, and that's something that we're going to have Sikich help us maintain. We want to free up Baker Tilly for their annual audits only. Baker Tilly is our annual audit provider. Over the years, for whatever reason, it has evolved to where Baker Tilly is doing entries into our accounting system of record on a monthly basis. our fees have racked up pretty astronomically for that service. And at the end of the day, you know, if you look at our 2021 audit, we had 87 correction entries that they had to make. Well, that was a huge expense for the city to have that happen. But 87 audits is an extreme number, or excuse me, entries is an extreme number. You might look to see 3 or so on an annual audit. So we were just really in a difficult place there. So in any case, Sikich will be our point of contact throughout the year for our accounting people to ask questions and do entries in our books and do them correctly. And then at the end of the year, we'll work directly with Baker Tilly for the annual audit. Of course, we have our budget season, which is coming up. That's going to be difficult to do without a comptroller treasurer. So Sikich is aligned and helping us perform our budget process for the year. And then a key elements I think will be really important for everyone here. They're going to help build financial reports directly into the Cassell system that will be consumable by alderpersons, mayor's office, department heads. There'll be cash flow reports, financial reports that everybody will be able to make sense of. So you really know how we're standing from a financial standpoint. And really my objective all along has been, we need to be strategic in how we might manage the finances rather than being tactical. And that's the direction that I think Sikich is going to help us go. The software conversion, Cassell also has a proposal in here to assist with project management on the software conversion. We can talk more about that. Item number 5 is the comptroller treasurer search and the recruitment. And I would say that, you know, our expectation should be that it's probably going to take several months for us to find a good replacement at comptroller treasurer. And I would also go further to say that if we don't put the right tools in place in terms of this Cassell upgrade and all the reports and have everything, you know, well aligned and optimized, we're just setting somebody up for failure, right? So we really want to focus on doing all of this and make working for City of Mayville as a comptroller treasurer, you know, a more attractive proposition to somebody who's interested in doing so. Item 6 is optimizing engineering. So a number of years ago, City of Mayville made a decision to outsource engineering. We use an outside firm, and I would basically describe it to say that we spend exorbitant amounts of money on engineering, and I don't think we're getting the return on that investment that we'd like to have. So we're going to talk about whether that means bringing a civil engineer on staff back into working for the city. Or if we want to look at going to work with another firm, MSA is a firm that works with our water and wastewater utility. We may be speaking with them as an option as well, so stay tuned there. Item 7, this really has to do with the concept of having a city administrator. I think, you know, that is a headwind for us to face right now. And so I would just say that item 7 is going to be, we're going to administer by delegation. We're in a very fortunate position today to have very strong department heads. We have good working relationships, and I feel very comfortable in our ability to continue to administer by delegation for the time being. And then item 8, probably of utmost importance, is just continued focus on employee morale, workplace, work balancing, workload balancing, and these types of things. So that's my 8-point plan. And we'll go ahead and move on. Questions?
Excellent. Okay, are we gonna get any other bids besides Sikich?
Who would you like to get bids from?
There's a few out there. In my travels for other villages and cities, they have other people besides Baker Tilly or Sikich. I would like to see at least 2, at least. You happen to know what we spent on Kunkel last year?
Yep, I do. I'm glad you asked. Last year on Kunkel, we spent $127,349.17.
And what were we budgeted to spend?
I don't have a report available, that information.
Okay.
But I can tell you when we had an engineer in-house, I mean, you still, will need to use outside engineering from time to time with different projects. The outside engineering ranged between 50 and 70 a year when we had an engineer in-house.
I don't know what 60,000 was the budget in my head, but, I was just curious what was.
Total engineering last year, both Kunkel and other civil engineers, our total spend last year was 225,000. So,
Okay, that's it for me for now.
all right. Any other questions?
With regards to Uncle, is that strictly engineering or does that include building inspection?
So that's,
I know they do both.
yeah, so they do a great job for us with the building inspector. So I would anticipate, and I've got to ask that question of Angie, maybe she can. I'll find out. That's a subset, but I think this is, I don't think this is inclusive of that, but I'll double check. All right. So, is Mary? Yeah, Mary. Hi, Mary.
How are you?
Great, thank you. So with no other questions, we'll move on to the next item, a presentation from Sikich regarding their findings to this point and their recommendations to the city and how to proceed. So on the line with us in Zoom, we've got Jim Sullivan. Jim was the investigator who was looking into some of the specific items that came up in the regular audit. Mary O'Connor, again, been a great coordinator from the very beginning. And I think, unless I'm mistaken, Jim and Mary, you were going to start with your presentation, kind of what you've seen and what you'd recommend going forward. And then we'll move on to Ashley and or Alex to talk about, you know, plan B. How do we move ahead and how do we get where we want to be?
We're ready. Jim, do you want to start?
Sure. My name's Jim Sullivan from Sikich. Thank you for having us tonight. So back in March, our initial scope included reviewing a bond issue, a $3.5 million bond issue. Of that, $2.27 million was designed to go to street improvement projects. $120,000 for parks and public ground projects, $460,000 for sewerage projects, and $680,000 for water system projects. The scope of our work was to see if the expenditures of that money determine what they were and in what categories they were. Second piece of our project was to review the sale of property to a local business. And the third piece of our project, which was just added on right as Angie was resigning, was to review an issue related to the commingling of city funds and community development authority funds. So like with any other projects, we started and reviewed Mayville's financial statement audit and to see if there were any findings relative to these issues in your financial statement audit. We did note that your external auditors noted some material weaknesses related to internal controls over financial reporting. The first was inadequate segregation of duties due to staffing and financial limitations. There were missing key controls. They noted there was a material weakness related to the fact that only the preparer was reviewing adjusting journal entries, bank reconciliations, and year-end reconciliations. They noted the financial statement close process had material weaknesses surrounding the preparation of financial statements and footnotes, adjusting journal entries, and an independent review of financial reports. For the FY21 audit, again, we reviewed FY20 and FY21, the last two audits. The FY21 audit added in some findings related to the fact that invoices in excess of $400,000 that were paid in December of 21 were still not posted at the time of the audit, which was months later. Bond proceeds from the $3.5 million bond in May of 21 one, were not posted to the general ledger at the time of the audit, again, months later. And bank reconciliations were not completed beyond June of 2021. They also noted other findings as well. So we struggled we struggled with Angie to be able to find records for those expenditures related to the bond, and we are still awaiting some records on those. I think Angie struggled to find those records. And we have yet to hit the commingling of funds with the CDA. Again, that was added as Angie was submitting her about the time Angie was submitting her resignation. So we have not done an in-depth review of that issue. We did review the sale of property on Slag Road to Metalcraft, and this is an issue that had been discussed at the Common Council a number of times. It was discussed on February 8th, 2021, and it's recorded in minutes. Not approved, but just discussed. It was discussed August 9th, 2021. It was discussed August 29th, 2021, and there was actually a motion to approve the proposal to sell a portion of the city property in Metalcraft contingent on the Planning Commission approval and rezoning, with Metalcraft paying the attorney costs, surveys, title recording costs, along with $15,000 for DPW relocation and $15,000 presumably for the lot. In the minutes that we have access to, there was no vote recorded on that motion. And it's unclear, again, what the total payment of $30,000, in what form that was going to take. It's discussed February 28th, 2022 in the Common Council closed session. However, there are no minutes for the February 28th, 2022 Common Council meeting that have been posted for our review. The Common Council minutes for March 14th, 2022 reflect the approval of a number of resolutions numbered 5731 through 5736. None of those deal with the sale, approving the sale of the Slag Road property to Metalcraft. However, we were shown a resolution with the number 5736 on it, purporting to be the approval of the sale of the property, yet that resolution with that content was never approved before the board. Actual 5736 is the approval of a temporary street closure. So there is a questionable resolution out there, 5736, signed by the mayor and the clerk at the time, reflecting the approval, but that approval was never brought before the board and approved. Metalcraft actually paid $13,645,000 for the property. We found that in the financial records that we were given. We need to verify, however, any other payments, whether it's in cash or services, that Mayville received from Metalcraft for that sale. And we've yet to find the actual approval of that sale recorded in board minutes. So that's where we are at with our investigation to date. Kind of step back here as the other Sickage team is coming on board.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Just to verify what you just said. So you have not found some of these items, you're still looking for them?
So we were able to review what's posted online, and then we work with Angie to see if she could find any other records. For instance, we're missing the February 28, 2022 meeting minutes where the sale of the property was discussed. And we have no idea why there's a 5736 resolution reflecting the sale of the property to Metalcraft. That is not the actual 5736 that was approved March 14th, 2022.
One more question. So at one of the meetings, we were going to approve the sale contingent to two $15,000 amounts. Is that correct? For a total of $30,000 pertaining to Metalcraft.
That's what's recorded in the minutes, $15,000 for DPW relocation and $15,000 lot, it says,
Lot like LT.
LOT. However, there's no vote recorded in the minutes.
So in those minutes, do you recall seeing anything about like a reservoir for water? Drain, what's the right term? Well, reservoir.
I'm sorry, I don't, but I was only focusing on looking for the Metalcraft Slag Road sale.
Remember that because that's what keeps popping up in my head about back then. Okay, I'm done with my questions for now.
I just have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mayor,
Sure.
are we under contract with?
Sickage.
I'm new, so I
No, we are, yeah. For the
For this.
advanced audit
Okay.
services, yeah, yes.
thank you.
Just for the enhanced audit.
Yeah, everything else that we're proposing, these are special engagements.
Okay.
Oh, no, I just wanted to
Yeah.
know with what we're doing today.
Yeah. And again, the hope is, and again, Jim's provided a lot of detail. There's still some other things to be looked into. I think it would be prudent to do so. Because I think regardless of what past practice is, we need to know going forward, what's the correct practice so that we're keeping it in bounds and in the lines, right? Especially when it comes to things like CPA, TIF funds and these types of things. So,
That, for that CDA, so we still don't have answers pertaining to this CDA and this property for a local business. We don't know about those specifically yet, Jim.
So the property for the local business is the Slag Road property that was sold to Metalcraft. And the commingling of funds with CDA, we haven't even broached that yet since been a little turmoil, I guess, and Angie hasn't been around to help find any records since we've been asked to do that.
I keep everything. So if anybody's having trouble about the CDA, I've got records if anybody is having trouble finding it.
okay.
You need help.
Yeah, just a quick question,
Yeah.
sorry. You said that this was added to quickly after Angie or she was exiting, or that's what he said, it was added on to. The first priority was the March 2023, when you had the 3.5 million.
Sure.
The other second part of it was review the sale, Slag Road to Metalcraft. And the
Yeah.
third that was added shortly,
Yeah.
like an extra. I just want to know when was that? Was that voted on or type?
No, so really the way the engagement has worked is, we provide Sickich with specific transaction or scenario that came up during our regular audit, right? It's a Sickich
Sure, here's a red
drills
flag.
down into that, right? Because that was red flag during the regular audit.
Okay, that was brought up there.
So rather than, it wasn't here's all of our books, see what you guys can find. It was, here's 3 scenarios. And they did one at a time. And one of the last meetings we had with Sickich before, and Angie's resignation was regarding the CDA funds. Yep.
On another note, has anybody ever asked whoever was taking care of this in the past? Hey, could you inform us what happened here? Did anybody ask them?
To whatever extent they would be available, yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
mean, that's what I do when I don't know something, I go back to the
Yeah.
person.
That makes sense. Mary?
Okay. Well, it's really my role to just sort of give some observations, given our forensic review, where I sort of think you're at and where you need to focus going forward. I was most disturbed by our inability to quickly put our hands on the documents related to your bond issue. That's serious, and that's something that you should know, not only full group of documents where the money came from, but you should know very instantly that it was spent per your covenants. And we just weren't able to do that. That's disturbing. So then looking at the management letters from Baker, which is a fine firm, they've said repeatedly that you lack proper separation of duties, you lack timely posting of financial information. Your financial controls are at best poor. Well, that's not acceptable. Shouldn't be acceptable to you as the caretakers of the residents' money. You need to establish a dependable financial system. And while it has been recognized, and I'm very glad to see this, that you're going to convert to better software, one that has the potential, if it's operated and implemented correctly, to give you timely data and information in a form that you can use and make decisions and take actions, and hopefully software that is also safe given all of the information that you have. There is no point in taking what is essentially a non-financial system and converting it. You'll just make it worse. So from our point of view, we think you will be well served to find a way to solve your staffing issue. You're going to be very shorthanded for the next few months until you fill spaces. But more important, just the amount of work that is going to be needed to establish a baseline financial system that you can depend on going forward. You don't have that kind of staffing, and honestly, you don't have that kind of in-house expertise. And then also with the assistance of implementing a system, it's very time intensive. We've implemented thousands of them. We can speed this along. We can put wheels on this project that you won't be able to do by yourselves and internally. I strongly suggest you get some control over your paperwork, particularly as it feeds in to your council decisions. It's extremely important that people from the outside can quickly, you don't go to a date and you can't find the minutes. No, doesn't work that way. You can't have financial information, just baseline that you can't depend on that isn't timely. So I just think this is a great opportunity for you to sort of step back and say, let's get the assistance we need to install the type of system that's worthy of your constituents. And Sikich would like to help you in that endeavor. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Ashley.
Thank you, Mary. Hello, Council. Thank you for your time this evening. I know that Mayor has provided you our proposal ahead of today. We prepared a high-level presentation that will summarize why we think we can help the city. I'll share my screen. Can everybody see my screen? That's in person? Great.
Yeah.
So we reviewed with the mayor his 8-point plan on where the Sikich team can specifically partner with the city of Mayville to help execute and fill the gap of Angie. We were discussing this proposal with Mayor ahead of Angie resigning because Angie needed support. What was happening within the city was more than a one-woman show, both from a work standpoint and volume, but also as outlined by the mayor, by Jim, Mary, and the auditors, that there needs to be more individuals involved to allow for proper segregation of duties. As we walked through and had conversations with Angie, that was one of the things we noted most importantly, was that we had to help the city implement controls. So as we look at the mayor's 8-point plan, we'll be helping or proposing to help with upgrade to the KCell software. We'll help do a tie out of the Baker Tilly audit. We will not question what they are doing. We are creating a proposal where we draw a line in the sand and make sure that the go forward approach and numbers are accurate. It's hard to, though, go back into history and really understand everything that happened with individuals that are no longer here. We'll assist in the budgeting process, as the mayor said. And as he was going through his plan, the administration by delegation and the continued focus on morale, that is where our team can step in and provide that bandwidth assistance, the know-how of how to execute departments, come into turnaround situations, put the right processes in place, and set the city up for success. As we look at our timeline, the first month that we're engaged, we're going to focus on transition. As much as possible, we'd like some time with Angie to learn from her what she had already been doing within the department. In Angie's absence, we'll be working with the mayor and then also potentially the utility accountant who knows the KCell software well as overall operations of the city. As we progress through our first month and are getting wrapped up in the city, we're going to start triaging certain areas that are important. TAG financials was an area. There's other areas within the city where we want to help control either making sure the revenue coming in is accurate or control the potential bleed of money going out. There's numerous accounts the city has with gas and grocery stores that are not controlled or audited. So any past employee could still technically have access to those accounts. Those are areas that we had started to prioritize with Angie to making sure that we have control of revenue coming in and money going out. We're also going to work on implementing proper controls and policies and procedures so that on a monthly basis, we close the city's books, financials can be reported out. It seems like it's been quite a bit of time before that has happened. What Angie walked into was a situation that at the end of the year, Baker Tilly was making a lot of the entries. It should be the fact, as Mayor said, that we are helping the city make these entries every single month. At the time audit comes, everything's ready. They only do an audit. Maybe they have a few entries to propose, but the city's really owning their books, and that's something that Thickage can help them do. As we go through a triage process and ensure that the books are being closed on an accurate and consistent basis, we have the right controls in place. We have that all documented is when we can move into some more of the strategy for the city and making sure we look at the reporting out to the council. What does the council want to see, and make sure that we tailor the reporting to specific needs. Help the city with operational cash flow forecasting and understanding at an intimate level what is flowing in, when it's flowing in, what expenditures are going out, at what point are they going out, so the city has a clear view of its full cash flow. As we go into a little bit more details, we outlined these 3 phases. The first phase of our transition is focused on working sessions and establishing strong project management, making sure that we have the right status meetings. We make a central repository for all documents. As Mary said, it is key that the city knows where all of its documents are stored. We'll be taking this approach as it relates to finance documents. Bank statements are saved every single month. Bank reconciliations are saved and they tie to the bank statement. That is part of the city having clean financial hygiene. In our phase 2, we broke it into 3 sub-phases or areas to look at. The first is to triage and clean up. There are numerous areas that Angie outlined that she needed assistance for us to help step in and look at. TAG finances, the library build out, how expenditures are handled. When Angie was involved, we even were discussing payroll, how to potentially make payroll a more efficient process, and making sure that there are the right reviews and controls in place. Throughout this, we'll work with the city on optimizing these policies and procedures to make sure that the department is operating as efficiently as possible. Part of the trouble if you try to hire internally right now is that individual and comptroller does not have a blueprint of how to operate the city. There are no set policies or procedures. We're at a standpoint where everything has to be created. And that is something that our team specializes in. We come into companies, we come into municipalities and help them rebuild so that they have a solid foundation to then operate themselves go forward. And most importantly is we need to document. Once we have optimized processes, we document what they are and ensure that there's controls in place. Within our third phase, this is where we're going to focus on driving reporting. This is not to say that the council is not going to get reporting prior to phase 3, but it is imperative we focus on what is in the city system KCEL before we work on reporting and making it fancy or dynamic, because we want to make sure we're providing accurate financial results, provide visibility to the city through cash flow reporting. And then there's other hourly scopes that will come up through our engagement, such as liaising with the auditors or doing special projects that we can assist the city in. And so that's our high level proposal. The mayor has provided everybody a detailed proposal for the accounting services. The mayor has also provided another proposal for stickage for our technology services. And as we were going through some questions, actually, I'll take a break, Mayor, actually, before we discuss that one to see if the council has questions specific to the accounting.
Any questions on the engagement processes? Okay.
I guess the only comment I would say, when you're all said and done, it'd be really nice if we could have a copy of that presentation.
Oh, would you?
This one?
Yeah, the slide deck, Ashley, could you forward that to me?
Definitely, we'll forward it after this.
Great, thank you.
The second proposal sent to the mayor was for technology services. This is something the mayor requested stickage sent to him, but this was also a result of having some conversations with Angie and asking about the type of transition. Currently, the city is using KCEL software and they're going to upgrade to a new version. We were asking questions such as, do you have a new database? Do you know how much historical information is being ported over? And those types of questions could not be asked, which signified to us that the city does not have a handle on the type of upgrade this is. Upgrading software sometimes seems like a simple click of a button and it's all done, but that's not how an upgrade happens. And so what our team is proposing is we actually take time to understand how the city operates and how KCEL needs to operate so that once it's integrated and upgraded, that the city actually knows how to use it. Angie mentioned multiple times, I think it has this capability, but maybe we didn't set it up or I'm not sure how to do it. Going into an upgrade is a great time to reset the foundation of what is needed in the software, making sure it is serving the city's purposes, making sure the city understands the inflows of information and also the outflows of what that information is supposed to do for the city. Because right now there is not a lot of external connectivity into the KCEL software. So on the front end, we're going to actually, it sounds like a pause, but make sure we understand the city and what is being planned within this upgrade so that when we're actually going through the upgrade, it is smoother and it's serving the city's purposes. We have seen all too many times when individuals and companies run into new systems and they don't take a second to pause and plan properly, and it's disastrous. They are no better off with the new system than they were with the existing system. And that is what our team of technologists can do for you.
Any questions related to the KCEL upgrade?
The question I have is, how much experience does your team currently have with KCEL?
Great question. And I was very transparent with the mayor. We don't have KCEL experience. We have a team of amazing technologists that understand how to project manage, how to hold software implementers accountable for what they are doing, making sure that we are doing the user testing for the city and that you are getting exactly what you signed up for. It doesn't matter what software we do it for. Our approach is the same, and it's holding those individuals accountable. We are not actually implementing your software. We are making sure that your implementation is done correctly. You've already engaged KCEL to upgrade your software. You don't need another implementer. You need somebody who understands technology and process.
Yeah, I understand that. It's kind of a leading question. So we, for whatever reason, bought KCEL. Is there other software that's better for us that we should have considered? I mean, you know, it's too little, too late, but It doesn't sound like you guys specifically have experience with Cassell, so is there another software out there that we should have considered?
Probably.
Would it, yeah, I mean,
What do you,
so the-
what's your expertise, what software is your firm's experience in?
Our firm primarily handles in the like Oracle NetSuite and not Cassell. Cassell is a smaller system, more specific than what Stickage generally implements for our clients.
Oracle monster system.
well, and that's all cloud-based software as a service.
Mhm.
Excel is not, right? It's on-prem. I think one thing, well, a couple of things stand out. Just project management. We don't have that expertise. I mean, you're looking at the result of our project management expertise. I mean, I think Jack asked last week or a couple weeks ago, like, seeing the Cassell isn't upgraded yet. I mean, it just, we don't have that expertise in-house. But one thing that came up in our conversations with Stickage is data hygiene, right? So a concern is garbage in, garbage out. We need to make sure that the data conversion translates into the new system, so we're not just dealing with a bunch of garbage, and Stickage can help us with that evaluation and help us get that done correctly.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I have experience with, implementation of municipal software, and I guess my question is, why isn't Cassell handling this? Like, that's part of your implementation, part of your upgrade is they're on site, running you through these things, and maybe there was a misunderstanding when whatever agreement was signed, but my understanding, because one of the municipalities I work for is just, I believe, just purchased Cassell, that you do have cloud capability. It's just a matter of whether or not that's part of the package you purchase.
Yeah. So, and great points. From what I understand, Cassell has had staffing issues like everybody else, and the can keeps getting kicked down the road. And also when Cassell is ready, for us to take our staff and go all hands on deck for 2 days, 3 days, whatever it is, I mean, the rest of the city functions just grind to a halt. That's another concern or challenge.
No, I understand that. I guess my question is, why aren't they present for that? I mean, isn't that part of the purchase price? For example, when I worked in Tulsa, they purchased Tyler. Tyler spent, I mean, obviously a much bigger municipality.
Yeah.
But they spent months rolling that out, this department, not this department, not this department. So why was that not part of this package, or why is that not being done? I guess is my question.
The upgrade decision was made, I think, in late 2021. And it's really difficult to get an answer to those questions. I couldn't tell you what everything.
I mean, do we have a copy of the contract that we have with Cassell that should have at the very least lay out? This is what we're supposed to be providing.
Yeah.
For the purchase price.
And with all of that, I think the better option is to have the services engagement to get it done correctly. I mean, if you read this proposal, they talk about server configurations and everything else, review the specs. And you recall a couple of months ago, we learned that our in-house IT had delivered a workstation, not a server, as a way to save money on the project, but specs of this workstation weren't enough to allow the system to work effectively. So, and then the other part of it is, you know, if Angie was going to be with us beyond this next Monday, and we called all hands on deck, and Angie works with the Cassell people, you know, maybe, but we don't have that. We're without a comptroller treasurer in a week. Now, Nicole from the utility, who has the accounting background and is familiar with Cassell, she will be able to work, you know, looking through the eyes of Mayville, she'll be able to work with Cassell and Stickage as they manage that process. So that puts us at a bit of an advantage.
So it sounds like there might be an opportunity to pull Cassell, speak to the fire and get a little more support from them at some point in time
Yes,
in the process of doing this.
correct.
I think Joe makes a good point with the contract, and I'm sure he will. That's no point beating that dead horse right now, but I think that bears taking another look at.
And Mayor, maybe I can add how we partner with a lot of organizations. When they do NetSuite or other types of implementations, they have their implementation team that should be project managing it. We are serving on behalf of the city. Those individuals are serving on behalf of the entity you're paying, Cassell, to do their software. They are not going to hold their team accountable if the city doesn't think something's done correctly. And that's where having somebody representing the city with project management and knows what's happening with this implementation is important. Because you can get down the line, it's like, we did it, we're on track, maybe now we're off track. They're looking out for themselves and not for the city.
And
We
you
have no
also,
vested interest.
right, and you also have a system to implement in so many ways, and Cassell is not going to spend any time thinking about how, you know, the underlying changes that need to happen in your financial organization. Those need to, well, certainly they need to be thought through and documented, and then we can get to where we can hopefully get some meaningful information up on the new system. You don't want them to just wholesale take the old system and put it on the new system. I mean, what's the point?
Any further questions?
Are you saying then just a whole brand new system?
No, you're going to have a financial system that has acceptable levels of control, acceptable levels of management, the ability to make sure all of the transactions are in your system before you do a timely every 30-day close. I mean, these are just basics to running a good organization, and extremely important for running a government. It's the baseline, it's the foundation from which you're able to govern, and without it,
Okay, so
everyone's in jeopardy.
in your opinion, our baseline right now, can it be dealt with, upgraded, enhanced? Better?
That's what we're proposing to do. But there's going to be part of the foundation that's going to need some rebuilding. I mean, there's and particularly when it comes to the integrity of past data. But we'll address those things when we're able to get into it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just one more question. A city of Mayville, 5,000, how many clients do you have at that size?
Oh, wow. I don't know, 1,000. We work with folks smaller than Mayville, to municipalities, counties, school districts that are considerably larger.
Anyone in Dodge County here?
Jim, do you know?
Jim, you're on mute.
We work with Chippewa County.
Right, we have directly worked with Chippewa, but in Dodge County, I don't think so. I don't think we do. But
The county itself? I'm sorry, with the county itself you work with?
Yes.
Chippewa, yes.
Okay, and then any cities? like Chippewa County cities. I'm just trying to get a demographic of what you have underneath your umbrella. And if you would fit for Mayville.
I wish we had Dan Berg on the call. He is our government chief in charge of doing audits for Wisconsin. I apologize. I am not particularly familiar with that list. I can give you a very long list in other states, but not in Wisconsin. I apologize.
No, that's all right. Thank you.
We've done a handful of projects around Waukesha.
Yep.
Greendale, I think, was the municipality, school
Yeah.
district, I'm sorry,
Greendale,
and others. Pound, Wisconsin was one.
Pound, Wisconsin. Yes, we did. We spent a lot of time in Pound.
Very small town.
Yeah, perfect. That's what I want. Thank you.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, Jim, Mary, Ashley, Alex, thank you all very much for attending this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a great evening. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, so we've gotten through presentation from Sikich.
There's 1 out of 3.
1 and 3, okay, so 3 being presentation from Sikich Winthrop, okay. So discuss with possible action the findings and recommendations from Sikich. Anybody care to start?
Well, I first got this at about 2:15 this afternoon, so it overwhelmed me. I'm sure it overwhelmed a few others. I wish you would have more time on this. Is it something we can table, or
You were going,
I guess we can hear from the others, just not just from me.
I don't think we have the luxury of time. They're gonna be performing staff augmentation. We do not have the comptroller treasurer starting on Monday.
So we can't have a fill-in comptroller treasurer time being?
Nope.
I'm looking at these numbers and I'm like, can we even afford this? And the other thing I'm worried about is we might go above our spending restraints where we disqualified for any Wisconsin state funding. There are spending restraints. We're gonna be way out of the ballpark, even be eligible for that as well.
So can I ask a comment?
Absolutely.
So I think it's spot on to be very careful on what we're spending. I think we'll all have that same concern. What after that? We have to have somebody in here come Monday. These guys can do that. So like at a minimum, where I'm thinking is, well, with, at a minimum, we need to get these guys in here to keep us going for the short term. We can talk more about what other options there might be, to go forward. But I think the timing is just puts it in a real bind.
I can see short term right now, because we're up against the wall. And, if we can sleep over it for the rest, that's where I'm at anyways.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that, you know, in terms of a vision, Sikich is gonna be able to help us from a staff augmentation standpoint right out of the gate. So we can continue to keep things moving. And they'll be applying, you know, these triage services for a brief period. I mean, what I envision, and they verified this, is we can have, you know, a 6-month engagement. At the end of the 6-month year end, we should be able to go into the next year with all of the controls and mechanisms that we've been needing to have in place.
I guess my question is, what is there's no cost identified. I know there's an hourly rate and there's a bunch of additional fees and things
So
like
if you look
that.
at page 19. You'll see the hourly rate.
Yeah, I see what the hourly rate is and what the estimated, but I guess How long do we anticipate this? And I mean, is this within the budget? To begin with? And I guess with regards I mean, I have a couple of questions with regards to processes. If we have department heads that don't have these established, I guess my question would be, why is that the case? Because if I'm hiring somebody at that level, I anticipate that they know how to do the job to a certain extent. And I'm not saying that there may not be some things that they don't know. But I guess I would expect some sort of accountability as well.
There are inside of City Hall. There are nowhere near the level of records that you would expect to find as it relates to policies and procedures.
No, and I understand that. I guess I'm not disputing at all that there should be. I guess I'm a little confused as to why the department don't have the ability to install procedures within their own departments. I think in terms of maybe coordinating the financials and things like that, it's pretty clear that should be addressed. But I guess I don't know. And I didn't have time to really review this, honestly, because I was working. But I guess from a procedural standpoint, I just don't understand why we need somebody to tell a department head how to implement procedure.
Well, let's rein it in a little bit. We're talking specifically inside of City Hall and the finance department. Most specifically, we're talking about safety, DPW and things like that. I mean, that's not really what we're talking about here. We're talking about when we do a development agreement, what are all the checks? What are the checklists consist of? Or are we doing these? Are we reconciling the books on a monthly basis? We just have the checklist of what we need to be doing. So that really big picture, it's designed so that the government side of City Hall is plug and play. No matter who's elected, who's mayor, who's on the common council, the city functions the way the city functions, so they've got a set process and procedures. And we haven't had that in a number of years.
So let me,
We never had that.
And
That, I just gotta say, we never had that. With, the discussion and possible actions and the findings and recommendations from Sikich, I could hear this for like, a couple more minutes. But like I said, I got it at 12:30. I know you want us to be transparent and disseminate information as soon as you get it. This council agenda was brought up before the holidays. I never saw this insight report until today.
Yep.
And obviously I'm working on my desk, so I can't read it. And just the fairness of time is of the essence, and I know where we're at under the gun for a comptroller treasurer. I think we can at least table this, making any decisions about Sikich. We can go to our next option, finding out, you said we can go on a comptroller treasurer month by month. There's different services out there too available. I have one we can check into. We want to do that right now, because that's what I was assuming that's what the meeting was for. And then we got this extra too, which, here I am.
I have a question. This is a lot tonight, but what is this technology fee equal to 2.5% of each month's services fee?
That's on that one.
That's on top of,
Hourly rate.
That's a portal that they make available to share and exchange information. It's just a base fee for that.
So I wanted to go back and Joe, try to give a little insight for what I think I've gained in the time that I've been here. And you're asking what, essentially what I think I'm here to say is what happened, why, and why are we in the position we're in? Is that a?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm coming in a little late to the game, so I don't know all the details of.
You're asking good questions.
Started this.
Yeah, no, you're asking good questions.
I guess my interpretation is that across the board, we have procedural issues, whether that's DPW or wherever. And it makes sense within City Hall that there would be maybe a lack there because we don't have somebody full-time to run it. So I do understand that.
Okay, so one thing I just wanted to comment on, and maybe you're already aware of this, forgive me if you are. But one of the things we discovered is that the cell system we had was outdated. Outdated and no longer functioning. And it was on a system that wasn't functioning. So we appeared to have compromised data integrity. But even if somebody's inputting data from the DPW, we didn't have a high degree of confidence that it was actually imported into the system.
Sure.
We had a freighter control that was doing double books on multiple Excel spreadsheets. And so we had a royal mess. And so now we find out where we're at today. And we recognize that we got to fix it. However it is we're going to do it, we got to fix it. So the first order of business is get the software working.
Right, and that was kind of what my question regarding the technology piece stemmed from, is that like I said, I participated in implementation meetings in a couple of different municipalities. And typically, and I believe this is going on in Stella, in one of the municipalities over now, they come in and they spend time with dialing in the procedurals and making sure the software works in the fashion that we need it to. No, I don't know the details of the agreement we have with Casell. And maybe the other municipality I'm working for is spending a ton more and they're getting, like any business, they're gonna get more attention. But typically when they roll it out or when they provide an update, they should have something here. Or at least doing some Zoom sessions or whatever, working through the changes or how the software works. So I guess because I'm a little new to this and I don't know what that situation was with Casell, and I'm a little bit questioning why they're not more involved, I guess, in this piece of the rollout of the upgrade. Typically, that's part of what you pay for.
And that would be my understanding as well. I think we're all kind of coming into this in the middle of that area, trying to make the best of the situation, but I think that's a very, very good commentary.
it was my understanding that, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't somebody here to deal with the Casell issues and there was understaffing? And we did not get the help that we were supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, that has happened. I mean, they've been inconsistent. They're not at full staffing. They can't find workers like any other company.
So
But
they're
and
not
also it's
compliant with
important to
their
know,
agreement then.
what's that?
They're not compliant with their agreement. with
So
us
do you
then.
want me to have the attorney sue them? Or do we want to get the software going?
Well, I'd love to get the software going, but I'm putting that out there so all the other ears and eyes.
I think one of the things that, Angie was doing, because of their, it was actually getting more out of them than was in the contract, because they were falling on their face on not supporting it, so there were things she was getting out of them, additional services, additional time, additional support. I'm just going off memory here, just in conversation, so it was a kind of an ongoing negotiation to say, yeah, the contract says this, you're not doing this, so can we get this instead? So I think I think we'll all agree that there should be more from Casell. Exactly what we can get out of them remains to be seen, because if they truly have a staffing issue, then we gotta figure something else out. But I think it does give us leverage to go back to them and get something more out of them, whatever it might be, what do we need? We can go back and negotiate, because if they're violating contract, that gives us something to go back to them again.
Okay,
And
And then continue to move forward.
the city of Mayville does not have the expertise, no matter how good the vendor is on the other side. The city of Mayville has demonstrated the ADP software implementation and now the Casell implementation. We do not have the expertise to do a successful software implementation. We just don't.
and what about our IT guy?
No.
Is it, okay, I don't know.
Don't.
Fair question.
Okay, I don't know.
That's not his, that's
Not his
that's not his
expertise.
wheelhouse.
Okay, then on another note, on the bottom of page 19, they're estimating the monthly fee to be between $8,000 to $10,000 per month, with a monthly floor of 7,000. So is it 8, 10, or 7,000? Which,
7 will be the minimum.
all right, so at 8,000, that's 96,000 a year. 10,000 is $120,000 a year, and then of course the monthly floor, that's $24,000 a year. I was hoping that was a cap.
Yeah, we're not doing that for a year though.
How long do you think we'll need their services?
I think we'll need them for 6 months to do this triage function.
Okay.
So, and remember, with the Casell upgrade, what they're going to do is they're gonna tailor reports. They're gonna configure it so that you have access via your laptop and see a view of the city finances that you can make sense of. And all the things that we've been wanting and been asking for so long, and yet here we are, we don't have it.
So are you suggesting tonight that we approved a contract for 6 months with them at these rates?
I think that would be a wise decision, and that'd be my recommendation to the council.
Okay.
So in conjunction with that, Sickich has somebody that can start on Monday to start doing accounting for us. Is that right?
They are ready, in fact, yes, I mean, they're ready.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
And if we found somebody, so, sorry, let me just rephrase this. We of course want to find a full-time comptroller trader. So as soon as we find somebody, if it's Tuesday, and we had somebody ready to come on Tuesday, they would just step back out and work with that person, or step out as soon as we were comfortable them stepping out. And we just move on.
and remember, the objective is to put the systems in place to give somebody the best opportunity to be successful in their role. If we hired Andy's clone tomorrow, we're gonna be right where we're
We
at.
still need these guys.
Yep.
I get that. So, the thing that we all keep coming back to, and I'm not quite sure how to frame this. We need these guys. We need the services they offer. That's a heck of a lot of money. Where's the money coming? Take some out of each department's budget, how do we do this? Because obviously we're currently not paying Angie's wage. But we're gonna be paying these guys, and presumably it costs more than Angie costs, some amount, even if 5% is something more. But just what we want them to do from a project management standpoint, if it's 6 months and it will wind up being, $10,000 a month, there's $60,000. Where to pull that money from? Do we have an answer for that, or is that something we need to know?
Talk with Angie tomorrow, with her insights on.
I need to know what the hourly rate's gonna be for Sickich to be our comptroller treasurer per month.
Right, and I guess
Flat rate. nothing, no bells, no whistles, no project management, where they are as they are now, when they're doing their investigation, but I need to know what a monthly cost is gonna be, and then I'll put a motion on the table to take signage.
And if I can just, backpedal a minute, I know you had mentioned potential for finding a temporary service to step in to perform the comptroller, treasurer duties.
We can look into that.
I guess one of my concerns, or one of my questions is, why are we not entertaining proposals for multiple vendors to perform in this group of services as opposed to jumping on the first one available?
Correct.
And I'm not saying that they're not competent. But obviously, any service is going to sell you every single, bell and whistle. And there are a number of other companies that provide the same services, so I guess my feeling is, why are we not finding a temporary solution for this controller issue and issuing a fee? And at least entertaining several proposals before we just pull the trigger on someone.
Time. Cost. I mean, that's what it is. Well, like I said, I need to know what they're gonna charge us for, we can get it back on. I'll call them up and see what they're gonna charge us without any project time management. Anything else, bare bones, take care of the city employees and the payroll and that function as the comptroller treasurer for those months, and I would do it as temporary.
What does it cost?
I think that it's on page 19, it's laid out. I mean, I would encourage you to read through the proposal. I know you haven't had much time.
And they could start within 3 to 4 weeks, it says, so.
No, they can start sooner than that. I mean, that's a proposal template, but they can start sooner.
So,
We have access to the web, right? We can hop on govhusa.com. If you want to do that. That's
What is that?
that's another temporary agency that handles comptrollers and is first in municipalities and government handling comptrollers and even
I'm sorry,
down
did I get that
is
one?
it GovHR?
yeah, govhusa.com. Could be.
HUSA.
Yeah,
Sure, by GovHR.
it could be that.
I thought it
I
was.
know GovHR does that.
GovHR document.
Try that one.
Yeah, I think
There
that-
you go. Here's a little video if you want to play it. I don't know, that's up to you, Mayor. I don't want to step on any toes, but I just asked for, at least you said the hourly rates here. And what would it be charged as the director, the senior manager, the senior analyst, the analyst, or the associate?
Well, we would be hiring a CPA. Or manager, what do you think? Do they consider an associate, an accountant?
You can have an associates with a company.
So if you look at an estimated fee, Sikich estimates the monthly fee to be between 8,000 to 10,000 per month with a monthly floor of 7,000. We can establish a mutually agreed upon do not exceed threshold. Would you like to establish a do not exceed threshold?
Well, I think the question on the table right now is just understanding. Just for the comptroller treasurer, what are they charging us for that?
Well, again, remember, it's a three-phase project, right? So it's gonna go a couple of months of getting things stabilized, and their billing is gonna be the same, their estimate per month, right? And if at the end of 2 months, you decide that you're satisfied with the work they've done and are ready to move on without their assistance, we can do that.
So let me rephrase the question a different way. If we hired a constable appraiser tomorrow, is their fee still $7,000 to $10,000 a month? Cause it, you know, I guess what I'm trying to get at is what's the cost portion for the constable appraiser outside the
Yeah, it's not
project?
broken out like that.
That's what we need to know with the decision.
We're not hiring a temporary comptroller treasurer. They in the aggregate are gonna provide these services and reports to augment what we're able to do in-house on our own.
So if we hire a appraiser, comptroller appraiser tomorrow, there's no point being in a hurry to hire a comptroller appraiser if they're including that in their base fee and we don't save anything by hiring a comptroller appraiser. There's no point in hiring one for 6 months.
I agree that right now it makes more sense to focus on getting the systems going and the systems in place and creating an environment where somebody can be successful with the right tools. Not to mention, I think it's gonna take us quite some time to recruit the right person for the role. It just is.
I understand that. I think what I'm driving at here, and what I think I'm hearing, and I don't want to speak for anybody, but this is what I think I'm hearing. If we hired a comptroller appraiser and didn't do any of this kind of stuff, we'd be throwing somebody that can't the deep end where they couldn't succeed.
Correct.
We've already proven that. So I think what I'm hearing you say, your expectation is, your recommendation is we put these guys on the book for 6 months. And during that 6 months, we look for a comptroller appraiser, bring them on board, get them up to speed. After Sikich is starting to get some stuff in place and make heads or tails and put in some guardrails in place, processes and procedures so that they can step in and follow the process and procedures that are being established by Sikich rather than the other way around. Right. It makes sense to me. But I'm not sure it makes sense to everybody. The bottom line, is I want to make sure that we're setting the city up to be successful. And if we spend 60 grand now, so that the next 10, 15, 20 years, we can be more successful, we'll put things in place so that we're not perpetually trying to dig ourselves out of a hole we've created, then that would indeed be the right thing to do.
City has been in financial strife in one form or another since 2009. They came up with the 9-year plan, performed and executed against the 9-year plan. We've heard that. And for whatever reason, after the 9-year plan was complete, and call it the COVID year or whatever it may be, we didn't upgrade our Cassell software. We didn't even install updates. And things just are an absolute mess. And if we keep doing it the way that we've been doing it, it's going to end up in the same place. Have to do something differently if we want to improve the situation.
So what I think I'm hearing is hiring a temporary comptroller appraiser independent of Sikich, i.e. we don't hire Sikich, we just hire a temporary comptroller appraiser. Is that going to hope for somebody can do the books and start all over where Angie started over, what, 6 months ago? Been that long already? Trying to dig through the old records, trying to figure out what's going on, trying to make it work. That's not a good place position to put anybody in.
And so at page 19 also, it says we anticipate a minimum of 70 hours, 70 to 80 hours per month during this time, this period of time. So keep that in mind.
I think we could put a do not exceed threshold on it.
I like do not exceed threshold. Whatever it is.
We have a relationship, obviously, with Baker Tilly. Baker Tilly is a huge national corporations.
As-
They can easily,
But the problem with Baker Tilly is they're doing their own work, and then when they do their annual audit, they're auditing their own work. There's a direct conflict there. You can't do it.
that's what we have right now. Yes, that was their findings, missing key controls, one person, lack of proper separation of duties, financial controls, equal poor. I know where we're at.
When we
I'm
can-
trying to get somebody temporary, comptroller, treasurer, who can contact any accountant that we like. I don't want to act on the sickage. Like I said, I'll make a motion right now to table, number 2, discuss possible actions and findings from sickage. And number 4, discuss with possible action proposal of assistance provided by sickage. I'm just gonna put a motion out there to table these 2 issues. And then carry on and find a control treasurer.
I'll second that.
All right.
So, can we still discuss
No
it?
discussion on our table.
Is this still open to discussion?
It is not.
It's not.
After it's moved to table, I don't think it's open to discussion.
So I apologize, with this table to the next committee meeting?
Correct.
Okay.
What are you going to do on Monday? Council. This is the council bears responsibility over the treasury. The mayor does not bear responsibility over the treasury. The council does. I don't know how you're going to keep things operating by taking the approach that you want to take.
When did you get this stuff? When was it available to you?
It was before this afternoon at 12:30. I didn't realize it wasn't in the packet.
It would have been nice. to have this.
I asked Annie and I asked her to distribute it to you as soon as I could. You gotta understand, I ask you to please give consideration of that. I spend 20+ hours a week in the trenches here with the staff, watching what they do. This cannot be done the way that you envision it being done. It is a recipe for disaster. We will fail.
I have another suggestion,
Okay?
if the rest of you are okay with it.
Well, hang on a second. Are we allowed to continue to discuss this or not?
Well,
We could vote.
I need time to sleep on this and absorb it.
So we have graduations coming up Thursday night. I think that's why we chose not to do it. What day is it? Wednesday night.
Mhm.
So we can call another special meeting. I'm happy to do it. Name the time. I'll be here. Please send me an email individually of any questions you have of sickage. And let me get those answered for you over the next couple of days. Name the time and date. Let's have a special meeting and we'll review it.
I have no question of their capabilities. I think they're very professional. They know what they're doing. I'm just looking at this money and I'm just very overwhelmed. That's my thought personally. I need some time to give this some thought. Originally, I was thinking 6 months. We need somebody right now. Yeah, I am thinking this. But that's me. I don't know how the rest of you feel. But
It's pretty clear, we need a comptroller treasurer right now. So we either go, and sure, there's other temp agencies, so I get that. But to a certain extent, we need to trust, I don't have to. I'm trusting John to make the right decision for the right reason. We don't have to go to the recommendations. We can spend time looking for other recommendations. But the question we have to answer is, what are we gonna do in the interim? If we choose to go down the path of not doing this now, what are we gonna do in the interim? That's the question I think we have to answer. And Ken, I think you're thinking we can find a comptroller treasurer account in a few days and bring them on. Is that what I hear you say?
Yeah.
and I don't know, but again, we have this Casella issue.
It's inoperable. That is not going to work.
Even if we did have a comptroller treasurer that started, what is today? Let's say it started next Monday. They're not gonna be able to go on that software and have it work properly. That's my concern. If I'm missing something, please let me know. I just don't know what to do right now. We're damned if we do and damned if we don't.
I'm not comfortable postponing this. I'm not comfortable, a lot of things, but I'm not comfortable with any of this here, but I'm not comfortable postponing it because I don't see how that's going to help us.
Let me retract my motion to table 2 and 4. I'll put a motion on the table to take sickage as a temporary basis for 3 months as the comptroller and treasurer of the city of Maple.
Just as a comptroller treasurer.
That is it.
What about our issue? Better keep that in mind.
We'll work with that.
Yeah, because Dalton's not gonna work. Why are we pursuing it? If it flat out doesn't work.
You've got to have, I don't know how you do one without the other.
I need more definition around what you mean by the work with that. Because from what I've seen.
So there's no one that can write out a check right now and take care of our employees in this building that can take over payroll. Is that what we're worried about right now, this second? For the comptroller of all the money, the big bag we got, that someone's at the head.
Well,
Because you and I both know, can hire a firm and be in there as the comptroller treasurer. We're having to come with the software? Is that my understanding that none of this magical stuff is gonna work without this Casella? And then we need to have, sickage in there. I'm lost at that.
I'll extend the same invitation I extended the council before. Nobody took me up on it. Schedule an appointment with Angie, come into City Hall and see what she's working with.
Okay.
It'll provide some insight that I think would be very helpful.
She's worked with that. I know she's moving on. Say there's no one else. It's temporary basis, even in sickage, that we can use what we got right now for a temporary patch. The water's coming out of the bottom of the pool, got the duct tape for right now. For 2 months until we make I got your plan.
Nope, we did that for 7 years, and I'm telling you, I couldn't tell you 1 minute to the next whether the database is gonna crash or not.
Yeah, so Ken, I appreciate where you're coming from, and I guess, maybe it's because I've been in the pot and boiled for a year now. And so I've been hearing a lot about this all the time that's been in here. And in all fairness, you need time to get up to speed and make your own conclusions, not depend on what I'm saying.
I just did. Yeah. It won't work.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I followed.
No, I said, I made a motion to
Okay,
have
yeah.
sickage
Yeah.
own the seat of the comptroller treasurer, city of Mayville, for 2 or 3 months temporary basis. And I'm told it won't work.
It would be a half-baked solution. I mean, we have been limping along for years. Why do we continue to do it the same way over and over and over again? And you're expecting a different outcome. That's the part I have a difficult time with.
So I'm not expecting anything different. I'm just saying that we need someone in this position now, because the time is of the essence. We have to fill that position. Then we can attack. We're all, ladies and gentlemen here, pretty smart. We can figure it out. I don't think we have to rush into this right now today.
But
So can I?
Please.
So Ken and Joe both brand new to council, so I have two really. Well,
That's debatable.
Yeah, well, but from the standpoint of living through what we've been living through, the government we discovered over the last 6 to 9 months. You guys haven't had a chance to see everything that's been going on yet. So out of respect for that, I get why you need some more time to still want to think on it and, you know, come to a firm conclusion. So I guess the question I ask is, how much time do you need to think about this? And do you need 3 months, 6 months? What do you need?
I just said 3-month temporary basis. Let's see what happens. Let's see what comptrollers and treasurers are out there. Let's see what talent's out there. That's all I'm asking.
So, I think that's a fair comment.
Bless you.
But I think it goes far beyond just finding talent as a comptroller treasurer, it's our system. And I think to find the comptroller treasurer that can fix our system too, based on what I've seen, that's not gonna happen. It's more than just finding talent, it's getting the system in place, because I think it's repeated this main, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound argumentative, Ken. The thing that we heard is off from Angie on a repeated basis is that I'm putting in 60 hours a week and I can't get it all done on my own. So that's the thing that I've been hearing over and over and over again, and I know for a fact she's putting in lots of hours, trying to make it work. So I think that's where I'm looking at it, this makes sense to do something like this, whether it's Stickich or somebody else. We need to get some outside help and to put it on the right path. Whether it's today, tomorrow, 3 months from now, we need to go through those.
It'd be awesome to have a deputy clerk, a co-deputy clerk, a treasurer, a city administrator, a mayor. It'd be a lot great. I like a Ferris wheel downtown next to the river. That'd be fun. But we're tight. We've got a budget. I'm looking at temporary fix because we're on the bookends, not to fight anybody, but we just need a comptroller treasurer. Obviously, Angie's left, was leaving, came back. Puts a lot of time in, I got it. We need someone to fill that space today. Before we leave, like you said, John, or what's gonna happen. So we need to do that. I put a motion on the table that I said Sickich would be our comptroller treasurer position for 2 or 3 months temporary basis.
And they would work with the Casella system? Because before you said base,
I heard that one more.
why
so you gotta upgrade the cell.
hardly?
You have to upgrade the cell. That's gotta be a part of the project.
And right now, Casella upgrade is supposed to take place in when? August?
We were pushed back to August because we were delivered the wrong server.
August.
So between now.
They're booking that far out. And that, you know, we had already been pushed back once when Angie and I onboarded. And it was realized we did not have the modules we needed, like payroll, and that none of the base work was done to actually transfer anything to the system. Then when we finally got our server, they delivered us a modified desktop and not a server. So they pushed us back again.
It was their fault.
Don't they get, we have a city to run, I mean, isn't anybody getting a little testy with them on the phone?
Absolutely, but so they're very easy to get a hold of when you want a service, but to actually roll this out, it is, Angie is not getting responses. They're not incredibly responsive. And I think, like it's been said, they are short-staffed. Everyone needs them and wants them, and we're just, you know,
Isn't there somebody else that would be comparable to this? Well,
I don't know how to- that's out of my depth.
From what I understand, because we were a pre-existing client with Civic Systems, we were given the upgrade at a significant discount. Like 30,000 as opposed
So
to,
that was a, hey, thanks.
yeah.
We'll get to you when we get to you guys.
Yeah. But look, I mean, the point that I wanted to drive home here is just please give consideration to, item 8, continue to focus on employee morale, workloads, workplace. If we cut corners, we burn our staff out. And we've seen it time and time again.
Something else we've talked about, and I don't know how you put these soft numbers together. But we know when folks like accounting is overworked, that things get missed, it shouldn't get missed, it costs us lots of money. So when I hear their pushback that, well, it's cost too much, we can't afford to do it. That's what I'm saying, we can't afford not to do it. Because it's costing us too much money to keep doing it the way we're doing it. We can't afford to keep doing that.
I think we're all in sticker shock here, first of all.
Of course.
And I'm just like, where are we gonna come up with this money?
And I guess what I'm saying is, we're already paying the money. We're already paying the money now by doing things the way we're continuing to do it. It's costing us that much every year. It just, and I'm not directing this to you personally, again,
No, I'm listening.
just from what I've seen on what we've spent on Baker Tilly and what we're spending on audit and what we're spending on stubbing our toes and spending on the extra things just on the audit, let alone things that we should be paying attention to and aren't, but are also costing us money, whether it's paying attention to what we're getting out of our CD rates or whatever it might be. It's already costing us this kind of money every year. That's my big concern.
Can they do better on these prices? Putting it out there.
The hourly rates.
No, you go ahead.
No, I had a motion on the table. I know
Oh,
we're still discussing.
Oh, yeah.
Continue discussing, then we continue discussing, and we continue discussing. Put the motion on the table. And then it said, John, you said it would not work, but what were we doing with Angie? I know she was working with it. The city's not gonna fall apart. I think the city employees will get paid payroll if that works, right? If we have a temporary comptroller, treasurer. That would be my common knowledge, understanding.
Well,
If we have someone in that
of
position,
course, we'll have someone who can be able to get
Right,
it out, but
so-
you are taking already overworked staff,
Sure.
with not enough time.
oh, I know where it is. I know exactly where you are, so. I've been around the block a couple times here and, yeah, so I know. Everyone gets stretched and everyone donates their time and I got it.
Angie did say that the payroll was fixed. I asked that during the meeting.
I don't do the payroll end of it. I know some people have sat in to kind of observe how it works. Nicole worked with her some today, with Casella on that. I can't speak to what you guys went over. I know Angie says it takes about 3 days just because the system is so slow and outdated and the hiccups it has. It'll take us even longer.
Yeah, I don't know, I don't know if there's a lot of talk or not.
I would like to hear from you myself, because you are in accounting and you do work with the system, correct?
Yeah, I do work.
You're what better person to speak on it?
Um, Yeah, I just learned a little bit from Angie today regarding the payroll, but that's not enough time for me to know. Well, I mean, I haven't, she's gonna show me some more tomorrow, but if you want to know what you're, I really firmly believe that it would be extremely beneficial to have Sager just help us 6 months to help us. It's just because the guidelines that we need. And they need somebody to give them things. They need somebody to send them reports, check out. Or they just need somebody in office to give them what they need. But it's extremely important that we finally can come up with procedures. And it's gonna cost more not doing it, because people are gonna be coming in and they forget this. And you see the turnover, it's so bad. But they can come in and they can say, you know, they can come in and they've seen it everywhere. They're the professionals coming in, not knowing us and saying, this is the best practice that we could have. And then we can move forward. I mean, just from the amount of money that Baker Philly had cost last year, that right there is 20 grand more because of all the journal entries. So if they come in, there's that 20 grand that we won't have to be charged for Baker Philly yet. If we don't have a treasurer by January, once again, you have audit entries that it costs $300 and we have about 87 and just one, at least I think it's $300 when they do the entries. When again, then they're auditing themselves. But
Yeah, that is a huge conflict, we,
so yeah, like even just little time saving, cost saving. Again, like yeah, 20,000 for Baker Tilly, we don't have to do a journal entries, and it's gonna be less actually. Because typically we should be only doing a few of them. Well, they should be doing a lot and not spending too much time cleaning things up. And then just more people in the spreadsheets, more people coming in temporary. And I give exactly what everyone is saying, but if there's just people will file.
I just thought of something. Other than sickage, and I don't know what other companies like this charge, but there was another company. I would like to see their prices compared to this. Are they all in the same ballpark? I don't know. But again, can we get the same thing for less? There are other companies, and I just think this is really expensive. I'm gonna look at other company while you.
I think that's a fair question. If you have any insight of where to look for this kind of stuff, this is outside my wheelhouse, where to look for this type of.
Well, it was one of the other cities that I went to
Sure,
visit.
I got it.
There's one there.
Yeah, so do we know what their hourly rate is?
You can look and watch.
But I mean, from the
Because we're
standpoint,
here.
from the standpoint of providing the same service Sickett did, I get it, we can hire a comptroller treasurer on a temp basis, that's one thing. But you're focusing on just that, and I think that the scope of this is much, much bigger than just hiring a comptroller.
That's where my motion was.
Yeah.
Temporary. I understand the plan. I understand the vision. I understand where we are financially. Not for controls. I got it. Change needs to be made. It should be great. We can work on that. I'm saying right now, we don't have a comptroller treasurer for the city of Mayville on Monday. We, as a council, governing body, need to make that decision. As men and women and direct the city. Elected, balloted in, we owe that to our citizens. We owe that. So we don't, sorry. Like I said, the 8-point plan is fantastic. I like that. We need to do something. We do. We need to hire a comptroller treasurer temporarily and then get our feet wet. I know, I understand that it's been 9 months and I haven't been here, but I do pay attention. And I watch YouTube and I watch the council. I know what's happening in the city. So again, on the table, I'd like to hire Sikich as our comptroller treasurer in that position for, I'm gonna say 3 months on a temporary basis. And then continue on. The nicest thing is, the great thing, if we do vote on that, we are already working with Sikich. And we can carry on and continue our relationship that we have now already from the reports, the work they've done before. And it gives us a chance to breathe and look outside also. So I'm not ixnaying Sikich and saying, I don't want to go with that. We have a relationship. I said, you should just give them the shot, 3 months, temporary basis, comptroller treasurer. That's my motion.
I'm gonna second that motion because we can always extend that if needed
Or make it shorter.
or make it shorter.
Well, now you've got a second, now we can discuss it.
Now we'll start
So-
discussing it.
Now, I did send you and Andy an email a while back of one of the cities that I visited, who they used for their auditing. It was Riley, Penner and Benton. You remember that?
Not offhand, I'd have to. go back and look.
And then I never heard back. Maybe I just sent it to Andy.
It might have been Angie, I don't recall that.
Yeah, maybe it was just her, but I never heard anything back. So that was another one that I was checking out in the visits I did in other cities and villages. So keep that in mind for future reference. I'm done with my part of the discussion. Go ahead, Mike.
Right now, according to everybody here, this Casella is not working. It needs the upgrades. We can't get the upgrades until at least August. I agree with Ken from the standpoint of hiring Sikich for the comptroller treasurer's position right now. If they can get that straightened out somewhat, without Casella's upgrade, they're gonna have to use their own stuff to get that finished or get that done. And if they can suggest an upgrade of something else other than this Casella, to me, it would be advantageous for us to follow that then, because like Ken said, they're already in-house technically. And if they can get this thing rolling so that it looks halfway decent, and then go into the other parts of their project, then we just keep them on. But if we find out that they're doing zilch for us, then we're gonna have to be forced to go somewhere else. But in the meantime, like I said, if this Casella doesn't work, Sikich is gonna have to use what they've got in-house. And if they can suggest something that's working better or working good for them, then maybe we should forget Casella. So they can just keep putting you off, right?
They have.
Yeah, so we're beating a dead horse.
And with regards to Casella, I mean, what is the extent of the use of that software throughout? I mean, is it citywide?
Not yet. You want it to be that the department heads can self-access.
Because I think the problem with the fact that we've already got an agreement with them is that it's not as simple as just picking up another software. It's a big production to go do a software upgrade in a municipal setting. I mean, in any setting, I suppose, but in a municipal setting, it's a big undertaking. It's, presentations and making sure that it suits your community and that it's factoring in cost. And so are there programs that are better than Casella? I've seen much better than Casella. Problem is the cost. I mean, again, when I worked for Wauwatosa, they upgraded to Tyler. They paid $2 million for that software. It's a massive massive expenditure. So it's, with regards to Excel, I mean, if we've got an agreement, we're probably going to find a way to work with that. I would imagine.
If they do it. If they get in here and actually do it. That seems to be the problem, right? All right,
Right.
They pushed us out to August,
yeah,
that's my understanding.
so no matter how you look at it, if they keep pushing us off and pushing us off. We're beating a dead horse, we're dead. No comptroller treasurer is gonna be able to come in here and straighten this thing out if they don't have decent software to work with.
So if we go to just other side of the coin, we pick another software, what if they treat us the same way?
I agree with you there, but if we go with Sickish on a temporary basis, they've got apparently software that they use.
I'm not well,
They must have something.
they mentioned that they have, folks that are versed in project management and different software. And when I asked them what software they were familiar with, they mentioned Oracle. I'm familiar with Oracle, only in the standpoint we use it as a manufacturer. And I know it's a, you know, it is a massive system and I don't like it, but maybe that's just because I'm not an IT person. That's not a reason to not use it. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, does that mean they can transfer all of our information to something different on a temporary basis? I don't know.
I don't know, but if they say that they can
What we got?
work with what we got and keep us going for the time being, it's better than nothing. Ken put this on the table. You know, we're gonna eventually have, and then the second by Kim, we're gonna have to take a vote on it and, it's better than nothing. It's better than putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. Because that's what we've been doing that for, well, I'm not we, I haven't been here, but that's what's been going on for the last, what, how many years?
Well,
Yeah,
so so the motion was for Sickish for up to 3 months doing comptroller treasurer role. Did it also include managing the Casella upgrade?
I'm just looking at the Casell, I'm not sure on the Casell software and what we need. It's working right now with the money part. I know it's great to have that communication between all the department heads and everyone else to communicate and emails and home and all that stuff like that. I know it's, you said, I don't know where the crippled Casell software is. So I can't tell you that, you know, I don't.
We're currently on a version that they stopped supporting almost 8 years ago.
Okay.
That's why we have to upgrade it. It's just
Right,
that
that's like the phones do, the same thing.
A little different.
I could say, same, it's outdated.
well, it's doubling numbers and it's messing with entries and it's messing with financial numbers that
Okay.
way.
We're gonna be crippled till August anyways, by.
yeah, we went to,
Right.
you know, and August is 3 months away, so we might.
It's June, July, August, and then they promised that they would be here in August.
Yeah, but I would love to see us at least get started with something, and hiring Sickish is gonna keep us. Or at least get us rolling. It's better than sitting here and doing nothing, we can argue about this from now until.
Keep in mind that when we do vote on this, that we have what we're gonna do is the bottom line paying month. A threshold.
We're talking about D and E.
Well, I think what we're talking about.
All we're doing is,
Just a greater comptroller not implementing anything else with it yet. That's what Ken is proposing.
and Mayor,
Only comptroller. Greater.
did you ask me for the software to upgrade? Who asked me about the software?
I was asking if your motion included that.
Okay. And they have to obviously work with the software, our software.
Yeah.
Angie with our software, which is double numbers and everything, correct?
I can't speak to everything Angie was able to do, but yes, she wasn't able to get the information she needed out of it. But she was able to make it function just enough so we could get people paid and our vendors paid.
Okay. I wouldn't do that, suggest that upgrade the software. I'm just talking about 3 months, temporary basis, controller treasurer with signage. If we have a disastrous, everything stops. I'm sure we'll get a phone call. I'm sure someone will have to answer to that and come back and go from there. So that's what I'm willing to do.
In second with that.
Do you want me to take a roll call?
All right, for a vote. Anybody else have any questions? Comments?
Well, my comment is, I think we need to put a time frame on when we're gonna make a decision on supporting getting the outside help in to support it, and I'm not sure we even have agreement on that. I think we need to put a pin in when we're gonna make a decision on that, and I don't think it's 3 months down the road, I think it's a month down the road. I think it's that urgent.
And exactly what?
When we're gonna make a decision on whether or not we're going to hire outside help. Put systems in place so that we can set ourselves up for success. But right now, we're talking about just a comptroller treasurer and continue to limp along where we've been limping along for the last 8 or 9 years, or however long it's been, if this hasn't been working. I don't think we can postpone getting the help we need to help ourselves.
So are you talking about our software, somebody come in with the expertise of getting our software where it needs to be?
Project management, that's sick, it's just somebody like that, whether it's them or somebody else. We just need to I think we need to have a time frame when we're gonna make that decision. And rather than let's wait and see.
Whether it be Sickage or whoever, whatever.
I don't care, you look at just somebody.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
That's my commentary. That needs to happen rapidly.
I agree.
Meantime, we still have to keep our finances well.
Yeah, and we'll, I think, but somebody else gotta come.
At least, it gives us a chance to keep everything running. We'll get to see firsthand what Sickage is gonna do with that, and it might just roll into everything else. You know, and then we'll get done what you want. If we all. Hey, silly, I was just gonna say.
It doesn't matter what I want.
It's silly to say what you want, it's what all of us really want.
I want $1 million.
So figure it out how. But anyhow, why don't we take a look and see what happens?
Alderperson Newman,
Aye.
Alderperson Olson. Alderperson Smith, Alderperson Schmidt, Alderperson Tillman.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. That should work.
It's a start.
All right, item 5, discuss with possible action, comptroller treasurer, job descriptions, posting and recruiting.
In case it helps, I printed off the job description Angie was hired off of and the Indeed listing. So that was under the Sickage information. I thought you might want to reference that.
You got that?
So the job description, that's printed off from Indeed, okay, all right.
Yep, there's from Indeed and then the list of the job description in-house there.
This was with the prior posting.
Yes, this is the what Angie was been hired off.
This does not have the requirement for municipal accounting experience on it.
If I remember correctly, Indeed said,
Yeah, I remember. You did.
Associate's degree in 3 or more years of financial management experience in a public agency, bank or business.
Okay.
The golf course is still in here.
Yeah, that job description was last updated in
Yeah,
2007.
07. Same as the telephone software and the
We're looking at this one, right? Not this one.
Right. The Indeed one, yeah. So the question is, yeah, good one. That's the Indeed posting. Unless anybody has any edits, I would suggest just making a motion to proceed forward with that. Setting an amount that you're willing to spend on the ads. And we'll be on our way.
And Anastasia, this is just obviously for reference, right?
Yes.
That's a good one, yeah.
Thank you.
My only initial comment is that I know it's difficult to get good people in, and I feel like the low end of this is pretty low. About salary? Correct.
I'd like to bring up something here, the supervision decision making from 2007. I still think when it comes time for hiring and firing, that it should be up to the council. That's my suggestion.
Do we need to put that on topic for another meeting, perhaps?
We could, I mean, it's not
Run
part of
the
this
handbook.
one.
Yeah.
It's not part of this, is it?
Well, that wouldn't be a comprehensive list of, I think the one is like a job description of what it all had. I just
Okay.
pulled up the 2 references.
Basically, like the mayor said, we're looking at the job description itself. What do we want to spend? Where are we gonna post? How are we gonna recruit?
Right.
Any ideas? I have one idea here. We can look here to hire firms out. That was one of my ideas. Since we bring it up for discussion. If you want to click on there and watch that, or if there's an informational video, you can take it home. Give me the website, look at it later. Takes a lot of time on it together. That's one way out of many to find comptroller, treasurer. And it's it's an Indeed for municipal folks, shall we say. Or your degree, public administration, basically science background. So just one man's toothpick.
I think that's an excellent recommendation. We know what it costs, I mean, what it costs is to a certain extent that I kind of don't care, but we need to know what it costs. I don't know if you know that off the top of your head or not.
It's pricey, it's not free. So,
Pricey.
I don't know.
By pricey.
you know, I have not dug into it. I've seen some of the resumes on there and watched the video. We'd have to obviously see. We can also.
And I
We can
do
also-
believe the salary should be determined on what their experience is too.
Right,
That's why you've got a low and a high.
Just because I'm not entirely clear, would this be like recruiting?
yeah, they recruit for us, we
So
go,
we're not posting, they're just recruiting someone.
we go in like Indeed, say, here's what we want, here's our price. Here's what we're paying, here's our size of our city, find us,
And they're kind of headhunting.
yes.
Didn't you do that already? I thought you did that already. Oh, no.
No, I
Sorry,
haven't reached out to a
deputy
headhunter,
clerk,
no.
Headhunters are tens of thousands of dollars for a placement.
It's not that pricey.
It is. It is.
Wouldn't we be better off adding that several dollars for the,
Sure.
trying to our salary here and see what we get? I mean, we're already going to use sickness for the next 3 months at least. That means we don't have to rush into this.
How much do we, spend, John, on recruitment for Angie? When we got her, how much was Indeed?
I don't know if that she
No, she came through a placement agency that Baker Tilly recommended.
But do we have recruitment ads going? I'm just asking.
We did for city clerk and comptroller treasurer, we put them on Indeed. Okay, I think we spent $750 per ad.
I would imagine they use League of Municipalities as well. That's
Which is free.
something they
We
historically.
can post that, we can post this position for free.
League of Wisconsin Municipalities, I
right?
don't believe charges.
Okay, we can do that. There's one.
I think Angie was with the CUNY, something like that. Does that sound familiar?
They won't place anybody with us.
Oh, but is the name right? Am I saying that correct? Like Acuity or something? I don't remember. It's been a while since I looked at that.
I don't know the Indeed game, but if you could explain it to me.
So it's simply a job site. You put the posting out there for a set period of time. People will submit an application or letter of interest, cover letter, resume. And then, if you're interested, you indicate, yep, I'm interested, and it just kind of arranges for, move
You
forward.
can set how much you want to spend per week.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
I know
So,
that.
yeah, so you can set it. They usually recommend, like 250 a week. I've done it as low as 100 a week.
What's our budget?
You guys said it.
I don't
The
know.
last time we posted for, city clerk, comptroller, treasurer, I think we provided up to $750 or $1,000 for the posting.
So with regards to the previous posting, now what was the level of response via Indeed? I mean, what did we get?
City clerk, I received like 35. Had a decent pool of candidates.
Okay, but ROI, but when you hire Angie.
And you came from an outside recruiting firm.
Yeah, she didn't come through that.
Did we get any hits on Indeed from Indeed?
We did
for-
not
for
get-
Baker?
He did not have good traffic on the comptroller.
I think when I printed this off, it said 2.
Yeah, it wasn't. Was not overall.
So maybe we need to go someplace else then. Go to HR.
I think Indeed.com and this, HR. Important.
One of the three ones, League of.
League Wisconsin Municipalities. Is that a motion?
Yes,
How much money do you want to budget?
$1,000 on Indeed. And then I would add that second that motion.
Kim, are you good with that?
I am.
Okay.
How much for GovHR? I have no
Or
idea.
that's something we look at.
Yeah. We look out there, it's fine.
That's our decision.
How long do you want it listed? How long do you want me to take, resumes before I send them on to you?
Why? 2 weeks? Month?
What was it again? I'm sorry.
How long do you want it listed? Like, how long do you want it open for me to collect the resumes before they?
Here's the month.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay,
Standard.
if that's,
Your
Your motion
would
if that's
be
okay.
2 weeks, but I could be wrong.
I don't think we'll get anybody in 2 weeks. I'm not saying you're wrong, but based on past results, I think we could allow it for longer.
All right,
That's my thought.
okay.
Oh. All right. Do you have the motion?
Again, first position, I guess, we shouldn't rush. Hopefully we'll get People go by.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're doing. So, yeah, get it done. We'll at least get it out and say,
Again,
hey,
my only comment.
we have
is that-
position.
Right, my only comment is that I believe that this low end is very low, and I think that's going to probably drive some people away.
Do you have any guidance on what you think it ought to do?
I think that on the low end, you're probably looking more at upper 60s to 70 would be my guess.
$85,000 a year, depending on experience.
I agree there. I'm just saying that if you're looking at the traffic, I think 62 is pretty low.
I just threw that out,
I know
out the
that,
table.
I know that. I think it's,
I think that's
I think that's an obvious.
I think that's a fair way to do it. Whenever you're not setting a bottom.
Right, you're not setting the bottom. Yeah, would you want Tim to your motion?
Are we looking to amend the motion? It would be list on the league, up to $1,000 on Indeed, list for 1 month. Do not set the bottom end date, just up to the,
Based on
Experience.
experience, abilities, et cetera, so.
Yes, that sounds good. Okay. As of May 1st, 23. 72,522. 91,156. In Wisconsin. So I think we're in line with those numbers.
Alderperson Newman, were you okay seconding it as amended?
With the bottom out of it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Any further discussion?
So, can you read it back to us, so we know exactly what we're voting for?
Sure. The motion's been amended to list that position you have there from the Indeed. So we'll list on the League of Wisconsin Municipalities. We will list on Indeed for up to a month at $1,000. However, when that is listed, we're going to take out the low end of the wage scale and just have it up to the high end based on experience. Alderperson Olson.
Aye.
Alderperson Newman.
Aye.
Alderperson Smith.
Aye.
Alderperson Schmidt. Alderperson Tillman.
I,
Motion carries.
All right. That's work. Item 6, discuss with possible action, in-house city engineer job description, posting and recruiting. Do we have a prior posting from Indeed on that? Well, I think first of all, the question would be, is the council interested in at least exploring our options for hiring an in-house engineer?
Oh, I think it would be good to, to look into it. Absolutely.
yeah, I definitely think that's worth at least looking into.
Okay. I don't know.
I think $225,000 is a lot of money to dump.
That's a lot of money.
I spend on consulting.
Okay. Put that one on the parking lot for a bit. Table indefinitely, table till August.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have this conference figured out by then. And yeah, that's table until August. And
All right, motion by Alderman Schmidt to table till August.
Second.
Second by Newman.
Competition together.
All right, all in favor,
Together.
say aye.
Aye.
All right, cool. To adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second by Smith, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Adjourn. Yeah, take a quick break, sure.
Oh, don't we have this other thing?
We do.
Little just one. So you could, like, first thing girl.
Oh. Good question for the mayor.
I assumed it won't, but I've got it.
To the left.
I've got it.
The last door before you.
What the council deliberated on. Way they voted.
That could possibly change. We'll take a group of all
Good.
the city.
You can call me tomorrow if you want. You,
So that is the question you're speaking to, on the statement.
we only have one more, right, our regular, so.
Yeah, you got to do the first part. Oh. I don't know who the second one.
There you go.
So
It was
Christine was one of the.
Oh, Sickich was, yeah, and they specialize in municipality, they do a lot of municipal. So we looked at different companies that needed to have someone who.
No, I have told her.
With the municipal side of things.
Usually,
Yeah.
who always said.
So that's not all they do, but they have that practice. That was-
Or how you.
Is it worth something for session afterwards?
No, no,
Probably wouldn't.
no, it really, yeah, there's, yeah, call me tomorrow, I'll talk to them in the morning.
Sounds good. Thanks,
Okay.
thanks, Mayor. Have a good night.
See ya.
No, she can take rest.
Otherwise, I didn't get out there and tackle it. Get out there and tackle her. Oh, Lord.
I have a copy for resume if anyone needs it.
You thought this was gonna be easy, didn't you? Well,
We are still on
it's
YouTube.
a start. But you do,
We're still on YouTube.
it's. You gotta get it started. You gotta get it started.
Christina,
All rolling.
Christine, she was the one sitting in the bottom.
Oh,
And
got it.
Well, I can't fathom why this is allowed to hang on and hang on.
That's what I'm wondering, how, you know.
Well, we weren't here, none of us were here.
Yeah, but if once I'm told something, I'm not a mind reader, I'm not here. Nobody says anything to me, I didn't know we had.
okay, bring me to.
Called order at 8:18 PM, City of Mayville Personnel Committee of the Whole Special Meeting, Tuesday, May 30th, 2023. Please take the roll.
Alderperson Kim Olson. Here. Alderperson Ken Newman.
Present.
Alderperson Roger Smith.
Here.
Alderperson Michael Schmidt.
Here.
Alderperson Joseph Tillman.
Here.
Alderperson Abbott is not in attendance.
Quorum is present. Are there any citizen comments? Okay, no citizen comments. Item 3, closed session. Convene in the closed session pursuant to section 19.85(1)(c), considering employment, promotion, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Take care to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to go in closed session.
Motion by Olson, second by Schmidt. Please roll.
Alderperson Olson,
Here,
Or not the roll, I'm
Or we-
vote aye.
I,
Go on, close it.
thank you.
closed session. Alderperson Schmidt,
Aye.
Alderperson Newman,
Aye.
Alderperson Smith,